In this video, I'm going to be showing you guys how I'm making storage bins like these out of sheet metal for inside the topper. Stay tuned. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Lowe Show. I'm your host, Nate Lowe. As stated previously, we're going to take a look at how to make these storage bins for the topper. Now, I already went out of my way to prototype a few to fit, see what one works the best. I don't want to bore you guys with any of the details of me monkeying around and fitting different things. There wasn't too much trial and error. I started out on the smaller side and that seemed to be okay. And then from there, I just kind of critiqued what I wanted and made a perfect fit. Now that I found a pattern that works pretty darn well, I'm gonna go ahead and bring you guys inside the shop and show you how I designed it on the computer, cut it out with the plasma cutter, and then bent everything around to make it work. Before we go inside, I'm gonna give you an idea of what we're working with here. This is 24 gauge sheet metal, bent around on all four sides, and then we use a pressure clinch to hold everything together. Now, I use the same idea as what's in our vans. However, I made it custom depth and width to what I want. The van shelving comes as shelving, and you can buy the storage bins that fit perfectly in there. However, this is not the same depth as the van shelving, so that's why I went ahead and made my own. Now, I tried following the same design, whatever angle this is, and then put dividers in accordingly, and then just pressure clinched them on there again. The topper does taper up, so I needed to figure out what height I wanted everything, and then what size and depth the top shelf was going to be. So these will all fit on the top. That's why there's such a gap here. These belong up on the second shelf. This thing, you guys might be wondering why it looks like crap, and that's because it was just a little prototype shelf. All I wanted to do is get it up off the base to figure out my height for my second row. This seems to be the height I want. All the parts will clear in and out, so that is good. And then my bottom layer seems to fit underneath that pretty darn well. One problem I ran into off of the original prototype was I made one to this depth here and just factored in the angle here, but that didn't work because the topper locking brackets need to go back further. So then what I did is I set a piece in here and just let the topper press against that, and then opened the topper up, measured it out, and then it came out to be an 11 inches, I believe, is what it could clear. So now, after all that rambling's done and I showed you guys what's going on, let's go inside. I'll show you exactly how I made it on the computer, what I did to tweak it around. And then in the center up here, just like I did with this guy, I need to make two smaller ones to accommodate the depth difference here to here. So I will be making 5 more just like this. I will make 2 more like this, but at 10 inches instead of 11.5. And I'll also show you what I'm doing to make this shelf go all the way across. I'm not sure how well you guys can see this on the screen, but if you need me to make a separate video on how to run this program, I certainly can do that as well. I use this program, CorelDRAW 2019, to cut out all my CNC signs that I have for all my artwork. I figured might as well utilize the program and spec out exactly the width and depth and height I want on all my bins. So all I'm doing here is start with the base, you got your sides, and then from there you just add in 1-inch tabs that will fold in and go around the sides. You clinch those together, and that's what makes the structure nice and sound. So I'm gonna go ahead and design this quick, and then I'll go ahead and show you guys the cutting process on the plasma table. So there you guys have it. You just watched me make this from this. So I'll go ahead and I'll put this into the plasma table, and then I'll show you guys how we cut it out. So if you guys can see that, I'll be able to get all 7 of these bins out of this sheet that I have. I'm using a scrap piece, which is 54 by 60, and this will all fit on there. completed tray. Now once I get all the parts and pieces and supplies out here, laid on the bench and figured out in here, I'm not gonna put any dividers in here until we get everything compiled and organized nice and neat. Then I'll figure out the best way where they should fit, add my dividers, clinch those in, and then I'll put them in the truck for you guys to see it. Decided not to bore you with the clinching of all the storage bins. I got them all lined up and ready to go. What I want to do next is figure out my shelf. So I need to figure out exactly how wide to make this guy and what angle to bend the metal at to accommodate rivets. Once that is done and figured out and in place, I'm going to make some 18 gauge pieces of metal and then make it so that that's nice and stout. Alright guys, so that shelf that I was making ended up working very well for me. What I'm going to be doing now is making some support arms. They will help hold the shelf up. Bear with me here. I don't want to explain this process. I just want to show you what I have in mind and what I'm going to be making. The metal will be made out of 18 gauge, so it will be very stout, just like the shelf. So in the meantime, enjoy. Alright guys, so there you have it. I wanted as much room here for the shelving, so I didn't want to make it by hand and do a 45, and I sure as heck wasn't going to cut a radius out of 18 gauge by hand. So I figured I'd utilize the plasma cutter, let it do its thing. If you watch right at the end, I incorporated all these little notches, and that's just going to allow it to cut out and bend up easier, and I won't have to also radius to this notch up here just in case I stick my hands in there, I don't get cut on any sharp edges. Also, I made this 2 inches just for a little bit more rigidity, and the top is only 1 inch. Like I said, I want as much room as possible. So we'll try this bracket out and see how it works. Done with the plasma for the night. If you noticed earlier when I was doing all the bins and wiping them all off, the torch does create a little bit of smoke on there. So we just take a rag and clean everything off. Okay, now that we got all the brackets built, I'm going to punch some holes in here just to make it easier. Once all the holes are punched, we'll put the bracket inside the cabinet of the topper, mark all the holes, pre-drill them. That way we can put everything up, get everything riveted and ready to go. I'm also going to mark and punch out some holes for the shelf as well, just so that we can get that ready to go. So I don't have to drill through 18 gauge and then their metal. Alright guys, welcome back. The camera died last night, my memory card was full, so not good things. I was also running out of daylight, so I just decided to finish it up without trying to get a new battery and new SD card. So I'll show you guys what we ended up getting done last night, and then we'll finish making the rest of the bins today. So we got the shelf installed, and it's very rigid. My brackets ended up working great as well. So there's those, nice and sanded down so they're not too sharp. And yeah, we got most of the bins in. This one can still slide out. This one's a little bit smaller, so I'll have to make a new template for that. And then once I get that one in, I think I'm gonna fill the rest of these, put on my dividers inside the bins themselves, and then proceed with finishing the top ones out. Now that that one's in, I'm going to take them all back out and then try and organize everything, stuff them full of parts. Probably go to the local hardware store, get some bed liner or a toolbox liner, put underneath them, and then I'll show you a clip of everything stocked up. After figuring out my spacing, I decided to make another divider. My first go around on the electrical connector portion, it was too high, so this one I made a little bit smaller. Okay, so yeah, these are gonna work, so I'm gonna go ahead and get a count of how many I need. I'm gonna make a bunch of them on the plasma table just to make everything easier, and then I'll show you guys when they're all stocked up. So after completing all the bins on the bottom, I have the dividers in them. They're not fully stocked to what I want yet. I still have to complete a few up on top. However, I would like to finish the shelf. I need to put some toolbox liner in here. I need to get a support underneath this guy So I'll make another video showing you guys how I'm building these supports and then doing the odds and ends like the toolbox liner and then the LEDs. And then I will give you guys a truck tour of everything done and display everything in the truck. But for now, this is all the further I'm going to go with this project. Like I said, I need to get a few more things done before I finish stocking the truck up. So I hope you guys like this video. If you have any comments or questions on how I built these bins, if you need more in-depth detail, drop a comment down in the comment section below. If you guys like this video, make sure you click the like button, and then please subscribe to the channel so that you guys can see the rest of the project being completed. Thanks, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.